welcome back to EVE Online with me, Mark from DadX, and I'm actually in a cormorant right now, a hastily converted cormorant from salvaging duties to shooting duties. We lost the first Merlin that we came and tried this in because I ran out of cap boosters. So the wreck's here. I'm going to kill this rat. No problem with this cormorant. It's not specifically fit for these sites at all, but the one-on-one in the last room is actually the least hectic part of the running of the site. So we're going to grab the loot. And we've got the Gecko blueprint copy, so that's worth 80 million plus. And then we're going to salvage our wreck too while we're up here. And it's always an option. You lose a ship on a site, you can always go back and finish it. We've got most of the fit back there, I'm pleased to say. That will save me a trip to the shop, so I can just nip back now and rebuild another Merlin. Up in the top slots, we've got the free light Neutron Blaster 2s. We need those for the range and the DPS with null ammo. So to minimise cap use, we're going to ditch the compact Afterburner. We'll replace it with an enduring one later. We'll keep the compact Capacitor booster. We're going to stick with the Tech 2 shield booster because that's the one I got out of the wreck, so that's the one I've got handy. The Tech 2 Kinetic Deflection Amplifiers up in the resistance there, and in the rig slots we've got the Thermal Screen Reinforcer giving us a 30% boost to the thermal resistances. Then we've got the two operational Solidifiers. They increase the speed of the Repper, but that means we eat through the cap boosters quicker, so we want to avoid that. Now when we ran the site, I know I wasn't pushed for Repper mount, so we're going to replace those with two of the capacitor safeguards. They decrease the amount of capacitor it's going to need to run, therefore reducing the amount of capacitor boosters we need to run the whole site. Now a frigate obviously has quite a reduced cargo hold capacity, so we're going to have to use the Navy cap boosters. They're much more expensive, but they basically take up 25% less space in your cargo hold, so you can carry 25% more of them. Down in the bottom we've got the damage control 2, giving a little bit more boost to our resistances. Now we're going to use a prop mod rather than a web on this fit, so we're going to go with the 1 meganewton Afterburner, but we're going to go for the enduring flavour again, so it relieves the pressure on the cap. I know from where we were with the site and how many cap boosters I think we were short that we do need to go full enduring for this fit where possible. Now there's only one choice for ammo really, and that's null. I have tried a meta fit and I just can't find the right balance of range and DPS to make this doable. I think you do need Tech 2 blasters and neutron blasters at that, because we need the range and we need the DPS, and there we are. We can just about get them. They're going to orbit us and kite us at between 4,000 and 5,500 meters, so that's about right. But we do unfortunately have some flashy red numbers down there for the CPU and power grid, so we're going to have to drop the Tech 2 thermal dissipation amplifier, and we're going to go for the Tech 1 version, the meta. Let's have a look. There's a few of them. It's the upgraded jobby that we want. There's some very expensive ones that use tiny amounts of CPU, but we're going to go for the upgraded. It uses the same amount of power, but there is a reduction in the CPU usage, so we shall go for that one. It'll get us back on the right road at least. And there you go, we're back in the white on the CPU front, but now we need to up the power grid. So down here we've got the Reactor Control Unit 1, so we're going to drop him off. Goodbye, and we're going to put on the compact version. Now the compact version not only uses less CPU, but it also provides us with a 2% extra power grid booster, a total of 12%, which hopefully will get us there. Look at that, just. So we're going to have that. Okay, here's that fit, all ready to go, coming in at about 7 million, we'll call it. Full to the brim, 2,400 rounds of null, 24 Navy cap boosters. That's plenty. Now I will admit this is very, very tight on the fit. I have maxed out fitting skills for an alpha relevant to this fit, and by those I mean, if we have a quick look, we'll come back to that screen in a second. Not only have I got power grid management 5 and I've got CPU management 5, the most obviously relevant to your fits. Advanced weapon upgrades is kind of a secretly named one, but it actually reduces the power grid need of your turrets and launchers, so that's quite an important one to have. Thermodynamics is quite a good one for overheating, which we do from time to time. You've seen that. Weapon upgrades I could get another level of. That reduces the CPU need of turrets, launchers and smart bombs. So there are various skills, even in shields. Shield upgrades, that one reduces power grid needs for shield upgrades and modules. So make sure you look through some of these skills and what they do and understand the relevance to the fit, because they are quite important. And as you saw very briefly, I've got a 1% Squire power grid management implant, give me extra 1% on all of my fits, and that is basically what is allowing this fit to work. I think the base power grid for a Merlin is 50, so I'm getting 0.5 power grid bonus from that implant. Now, if you're not able to fit that fit, I have made this version here. I obviously only had that Tech 2 shield repper handy. You could fit the enduring one and then balance it out by taking one of the capacitor safeguards back off and putting the operational solidifier back on. That actually gives you exactly the same rep amount per second of about 34. It uses exactly the same amount of power per cycle. It does rep about 0.4 of a second quicker, so in effect you are eating through the capacitor and the cap boosters a little bit quicker. But I'm sure we have enough in that loadout. On this simulated fit, obviously we haven't got the full cargo hold. But this is an alternative. So and this is actually the fit that I'm going to put down in the description. And as you can see, I've got 12 CPU spare, 1.4 power grid, so that implant is irrelevant. But it is a little bit skill dependent. This is pushing the boundaries of an alpha for a Merlin fit. So here we go, heading into the site. I can see on my D-scan there's a wreck. I can check that I've got a key because I have been out once or twice without one. I haven't got that optimum loadout. I've only got 21 cap boosters, but I think that's going to be enough. Remember, the Merlin gets with level 4 Caldari frigate 16% bonus to all its resistances and 20% bonus to its hybrid turret damage, which is all very handy. And the resistances, I think, make tanking this a little bit easier. A little bit less frantic, I should say, than it was with the Incursus. And I'm just going to settle down. What I'm actually doing here is literally just prioritizing whichever one is kind of closest and getting in. I'm not really going for the EWAR effects. They're all neuting me anyway here, so there's not really much to toss up in my target prioritization. But through this site, I really just go for the closest one, get into 1,000, well, aim for 1,000 meter orbit. I never quite get there. I'm usually around 4,000 meters ish, which is why the Null ammunition is very important. They're going to be kiting right around the absolute maximum range of void ammo, and your application is going to be pretty rubbish as a result. As you can see there, I've actually run out of cap completely, but as soon as you run the cap booster, it takes me a minute to twig. I'm a little bit distracted. I think there's something on Netflix and I'm not giving this 100% of my attention. So luckily, the moment you fire the cap booster, you get the cap. If this was one of the modules that worked the other way round and you got the boost at the end of the cycle, the story might be a little bit different. But having a bit of leeway built into your fit is always going to be a nice little thing. So there's never really any scary moments on this run. The other advantage of flying these in a frigate is that you're faster and you're smaller than a destroyer is, certainly a web destroyer. And if you're running shield rigs, that's adding to your signature radius, which makes you even easier to hit. So the incoming damage is quite manageable. It's really taking a little bit of time to kill the rats because the DPS is that much lower than you'd be in a destroyer. I'm running about 130 DPS here with the Null ammo, and it's enough. And we've got the tank to keep us alive while we're doing it, and that's the main thing. And that's the first wave clear pretty much without too much fuss. Come on, Mr. Korax. Now I must say, these sites were touted as being for newer players, and I think they're a little bit hectic for somebody who's never experienced a site like this. Having now run quite a few of them myself, I come in, I know exactly what's going to happen, as anybody would, just with the experience. But I think if somebody's only ever run the signature sites that you find and the anomaly sites and missions, landing on a grid with this much going on, and there's a lot of ships here. What have I got, 8 in this spawn? But again, it's working your way through them. The Griffins will try to ECM you, the Bantams will logi their friends, so they're going to put out some reps. They're not very good at it. I actually deliberately try to leave the Bantam till last so we can see it repping somebody, and I've don't think it bothers till right at the end, maybe the last ship. Now remember with ECM, just because you've got the icon on your screen doesn't mean you're jammed, and if you do get jammed, kill the thing that's jamming you. But this is just a question of keeping the modules going. I've looted the wreck on my way around the site that other guy left here. That was a little Tech 1 Meta Rifter, which probably got taken out very quickly. There were no other wrecks on the site, so I hadn't even managed to take down one rat. But here we are. That guy got a little bit of rep off the Bantam, but we'll take him down very quickly now. They're very, very flimsy. Next wave coming in. I've also noticed on the sites lately that they overlap. If you take a while to kill the last rat, the next wave will come in on you. Whether they were timed all along a little bit, or whether that's an adjustment, I don't know. But again, not prioritising the EWAD, just going for whatever's closest, because it will take the most damage from us. And the tanking side of it is really no problem. I haven't even got into armour. It's almost amazing for me. I may have spoken too soon, but so far this is going quite calmly. Again, it's a mixture of practice, but this is a very nice tanky resistance tank ship to run this kind of a site in. And this is after the little nerf to resistance modules in the week, because we're not reliant, I guess, on modules too much. We've got the base hull resistance bonuses. It's pretty much unaffected, which is pretty nice. The Merlin was actually the first ship I flew in an EVE YouTube video, so it's quite nice to be back in one. Next wave incoming, a bit smaller than the last one. A couple of destroyers involved. Don't seem to get too much damage off the destroyers, actually. I'm a little bit surprised that they don't give you more of a whack even when you get in close, but maybe I shouldn't complain about a lack of damage coming in from the rats, eh? We haven't seen a cruiser yet on this site. There's not always one, which is good. Usually it's them who will give you a really nice big whack of damage now and again, which is the ones that catches you out. Always time for a screenshot, and these sites do give you plenty to look at with all the pretty effects and explosions. Just the 2 cormorants to go. I have used cormorants on these sites. I'm not going to do another video. There's 3 days to go on the event. It's basically the same kind of active tank fit like I used in the Thrasher video, but obviously with a different weapon system and some slight adjustments, but I'm sure you can figure them out. I also just did one site with my belt ratting cormorant and just did a wave, went and docked and repaired, did a wave, rinsed and repeated, did the site like that, and still got the gecko. The loot fairy really doesn't care how you clear a site. You don't get extra points for style. So if you need to nibble your way through a site, there's no problem in it. And you're no more or less likely to get the site stolen off you because you're not there than you are if you're there, to be honest. As alphas, we're kind of the smallest fish in the pond, and there's so many ships that can beat us in a straight race. Anyway, yeah, off we go. Last room. Come on, Merlin. I want to stay out of the armour for one entire hunt site. Come on. It's the same as usual. I'm going to go for the 1,000-metre orbit. I've got the afterburner burning. I preheated the reps and the guns, the same as on all the other sites. You just crash in and you keep going. Just keep those cap boosters getting fed into the cap recharger. Make sure you don't burn out your guns. And yeah, it's all good. He's dead. I didn't get in the armour. Didn't get near it. Almost dull. And let's see what the loot fairies brought us today. Look at that. That's one of the new modules. That boost repair drone amount. That's the 5% version. It's worth, it says 80 million there. So we'll certainly take that. Thank you very much, loot fairy. And I didn't get into armour, so that's probably the smoothest run. As I say, it's a mixture of practice, knowing what to expect, and this fit is really nice. It's very tanky indeed. Very forgiving too. So this might be the one that you give the hunt a go in. As I say, you do need some skills to cram everything into this lovely little hull. But if you can, give it a go. I'm going to leave you in peace now. I'll be back very soon. I've got a PI video to do, and I've got a guide to barges to do. They'll be up soon. Likes, please, if you've liked it. Comments and suggestions, please, please, please. Subscribe if you want to stay in touch. For now, guys, take care. Fly brave. Enjoy your eve very, very much. And goodbye.